I would like to introduce you guys to Tyler, our next speaker. Tyler is the founding engineer at Mastra AI, a TypeScript agent framework. Previously, staff engineer at Netlify, GatsbyJS, and 10up. He's also worked as a lead engineer at a local web shop in Gastown. Today, he's sharing why agents should not be built in Python. Please give it up to Tyler.
Okay, sorry, I need the presenter notes. Let's set up the second slide. So I was working on this deck, and I wrote why your TypeScript skills are perfect for the AI uprising. And later I asked Gemini for feedback on all my slides, and it kind of zeroed in on this, and it was like, this should be AI revolution, and it gave me like a 20-point list of good reasons why. So I asked it, like, is this because you're offended by this? And it assured me that it wasn't, but I asked again, and it just sent me like a thumbs up, so I don't know. But I guess now I'm just hoping, Gemini is still getting rate limited when the apocalypse comes, so I'll be okay. Anyway, let's talk about why AI agents shouldn't be written in Python. So I doubt this is going to be controversial here, right? But this would probably be harder to do at like a Python meetup maybe, but yeah, I guess I already got introed here. I'm Tyler. I'm one of the founding engineers at Mastra. I worked at Netlify and Gatsby, and then at Bear Advertising, which is like a few blocks away from here. I live on Vancouver Island now, so it's nice to be back in my old neighborhood. Thanks for having me. Forgot to turn the thing on. Okay, so why? Why shouldn't agents be built in Python? So let's get into it. My mantra through this talk is going to be Python trains, like that, but TypeScript ships. So Python. Oh, okay. There's your train. So you can see it's all robots. And then you got your TypeScript, which is shipping. So, all right. So Python trains. Okay, it's the undisputed king of data science. Model training, machine learning in general. I don't think anybody is going to dispute that ever. But when it comes to agents, all the frameworks are Python first, right? So I guess the point here is like it's not TypeScript, right? Which is not really. Let's see. I guess yeah. So what I'm trying to say, TypeScript SDKs are typically like an afterthought for all these agent frameworks. Like it's Python first, and that's kind of a problem if you are like a lot of us who just don't want to write Python. That's what it looks like when I'm trying to ship Python to production. My train is just going into the ocean. But yeah, so TypeScript. Yeah. Oh, right, the egg. There's an egg somewhere in there. It's very small. Yeah. It's over there. Sorry, I totally forgot about the eggs. I'm so nervous. So. Okay, everyone got their eggs?
Just go on pointing the eggs.
Okay, so TypeScript ships. Yeah, it's the undisputed king of the web. Nothing ships to production faster than JavaScript. I think it's hard to debate that. We love having a back end and front end that runs the same code. It's very good. For devs of all levels, you have to think about multiple languages. We kind of hate that we love it. Like people are always like, you should rewrite your back end in Rust or Go or whatever. But TypeScript and JavaScript is kind of fun. I don't know. 99% of the time, it's all you need too. But yeah, again, coming back to this, all these agent frameworks are Python first. So that's a huge problem
if maybe you're Googling something you want to do in this agent framework, and you get the Python docs first. So you need to look a little bit further. You get the TypeScript docs, and they don't work for some reason, or it doesn't have the same feature set that the Python SDK had, or things like that. But yeah, so not anymore. So introducing Mastra. If you haven't heard of us, we're a TypeScript first agent framework and TypeScript only. You can also write JavaScript, that's fine, but no Python, sorry. But yeah, for us, this is really important. So our opinion is if the APIs weren't designed for JavaScript and they're just kind of bolted on afterwards, they're not going to work very well. So I'm just going to jump straight into a demo because I think that's maybe more interesting than describing all these APIs. So I think I need to switch my screen sharing setup. One second. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run my Mastra dev server. So this, in my project here, pnpm run dev, it's actually Mastra is the CLI and then Mastra dev. But that will start up a server, and we can see here it has a Swagger UI, but what I'm going to look at right now is this playground. So if I just click on that, let's see here. Yeah, so this is our Mastra playground. So I have a weather agent here. It's like our basic kind of example of an agent. But if I click into that, I'll get a nice little chat UI right here. You can see there's all these like model settings on the side and stuff like that. But let's see, what's the weather in Vancouver? So this playground, you can debug talking with agents, any of them that have tools like this weather agent. You can debug the tools as well. So right in the UI here, we can see that it called this weather tool. It looked for the location Vancouver, and then it got the result. So I guess it's like 12.7 Celsius right now. But let's see here. Sorry, one sec. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna show you the code actually. So I jump back over to my editor here. You can see you don't actually need very much code to create an agent with Mastra. You just make a new agent instance. You give the agent a name. You give it some instructions, so just describing what it should be doing, which is actually very important, more so than you would think. And then you can use any LLM model you want. So here I'm using GPT-4o, but you could use Claude or Mistral or anything like that. And then you can provide tools. So like we saw, there was a weather tool. I'm just adding it onto this agent here. And if I go over to the code for that, you can see that the tool code is also not very complicated. So I think the last presenter, you talked about how it's kind of like an express route for MCP tools. Kind of the same thing here. We have an execute function, and that is what the agent will actually call. And the input schema here, it's just a Zod schema. You can describe all the fields and all that, and then the agent will actually see this, and it will know what that means and what kind of data it needs to provide to the tool. And then you can also add an output schema, so you get nice types and stuff like that. So, for example, if I was to just comment one of these out on this get weather function, we get like a nice type error saying, oh, this function, execute function, doesn't properly meet this output schema requirements. So, next thing I'm going to show you is that we also have workflows. So agents are kind of non-deterministic. They do what they want. You have to convince them to do things, call tools and stuff like that. So there's this concept of workflows where it's like a more structured, like stepped logic of all these different conditions and functions that should run. So here I have a weather, fetch weather and plan activities workflow. So we could say for Vancouver, just submit this. It's going to fetch the weather, make this a little bit bigger. So it did finish that, and now it's planning activities based on the weather. So I go back over here. Actually, just outputting in the terminal. This is not like a very advanced workflow, but you can see based on the weather summary, it's actually, this agent or the LLM is going through and planning things to do in Vancouver. That would be good for the weather. And if I jump back over to the browser here, you can see both of those steps were finished, and you get a result down here. So you'd be able to build a UI around this, for example, where you have like a little input and you say, give me activities based on the weather for where I am, or something like that. But you can do very complicated workflows or very simple ones. There's also a tracing tab over here at the top. So we can see everything that happened as the code was running. So you can go through and kind of step through all of the individual functions that were called to make that workflow happen and work properly. So okay, next thing I'm going to show you. Our agent here, the weather agent, you see at the bottom it says that it can't remember messages. It doesn't have any memory. It actually just remembers the last message that was sent to it. So what I'm going to show you real quick is over in Cursor here. So Mastra, we've created a MCP documentation server. So any of your AI editors like Klein, Cursor, Windsurf, everything the last presenter was talking about, you can install this doc server, MCP server into it, and it will make the editor an expert in Mastra. So that's really helpful for building AI agents, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell Cursor here to add memory to this agent. So add memory to my weather agent. And hopefully this works. Hopefully the demo gods are nice to me. Let me just double check that I actually turned on the MCP server. Yeah, I did. Okay, nice, there we go. Okay, so you can see on the right, it's called an MCP tool. And what it's doing is it's actually choosing to look at the Mastra memory documentation. And then based on that, it sees, I need to install this at Mastra/memory package. And then it also now knows how to edit this code and add memory to it. So it's updated the system instruction, just telling it how memory works, and it added a whole bunch of stuff to memory here. You actually don't need all these features. This is like all of our memory features. I'll show you in a sec once it's done. With memory here, it will actually work if it's just like that. So everything it added actually was good, but just for simplicity of the demo, just showing all you have to do is add new memory. And now if I jump back over to the browser, you can see this UI has changed. That little notice at the bottom is gone, and we have a chat history on the side. So I can say something like, I'm presenting at JavaScript. Yeah, it is. And then I guess it's just going to look at the weather here. But, where am I presenting? And it will remember you're presenting Vancouver if you need more weather updates. So, yeah. Sorry, I got like a list of things. I'm very nervous when I'm doing public speaking, so I got to look at my demo list here. Okay, actually, I'm going to jump back to my slides. So, okay, So yeah, that was agents, tools, workflows, and memory, all in TypeScript with not too much code to make it work. And then yeah, as you saw, like you can install that docs MCP into Cursor or Windsurf or whatever, and you just describe what you want your agent to do, and Cursor is going to help you actually build it, or you can build it yourself, of course. Yeah, quick recap. So it comes with the debugging playground. You can use any LLM model you want. OpenAI, Anthropic, Mistral, Llama, so on. Adding memory is pretty simple. And you can also connect it to a lot of different database adapters. So like Postgres, Upstash, the default is libSQL, but there's a bunch of other ones too. And yet, as we saw, like it's all traceable, there's logs. You get tool calling. You also get MCP. I didn't demo that, but you can use MCP servers in your agents that you're building. And you gotta get all this without writing too much code.
Hey, go back.
Oh.
You just woke up everybody. That's right, you did.
Okay. Y'all got the egg? All right, so workflows, I didn't really show you the code or anything for them, but it's kind of this sort of the syntax like this where you can define multiple steps or like sub workflows. But the main thing is that workflows are deterministic and highly reliable, so you don't have to convince the agent to do something. You write a workflow where one step uses an agent to summarize something or call a tool or something like that. So Mastra works with any JavaScript frontend. So we have a client JS package, and you just kind of point it at your Mastra server. But it also supports the Vercel AI SDK. So it works with like React, Svelte, Vue, Solid, and so on with the used chat hooks from Vercel. And there's actually a lot more features. So you can get reg very easily. So it allows you to search your documents by their meaning instead of keyword search or something like that. There's real-time voice and speech APIs. And I mentioned it already, but yeah, there's database adapters. So that's for reg databases as well as the memory database. And you can deploy to Cloudflare, Vercel, Netlify, and we have a Mastra Cloud that's in beta right now as well. And yeah, so how do you get started? npm create Mastra. You get this nice little terminal UI that'll walk you through creating a project. And then you just cd into it and run this dev command, and then you get the Mastra server that I was showing you. So yeah, this is the bet that we're making at Mastra is, yeah, there's millions of JavaScript and TypeScript developers. And most of us aren't training models, right? We're building apps, and products, and stuff. So we think it's time for a framework that's actually designed for JavaScript first, not Python. TypeScript isn't just good enough for agents, it's actually great for them with this, which is nice. Which brings us back to my mantra, Python trains, TypeScript ships. So that's the vision of like a framework that's built for JS devs to bring AI to the web. Thanks for listening. Check us, or give us a star on GitHub, Mastra AI/Mastra on GitHub. We have a Discord. You can get there from our homepage. You can also get to the Mastra Cloud beta if you're interested from our homepage. And yeah, try it out. Thanks, everybody.